reversible, it's part of the charm. Skeleton greeters rattling at the door. Zombies doing jazz hands across the floor. Laugh a little, scream, laugh a little, scream a lot. Join my army, give it a shot. You don't need breath, you don't need fear, just let your soul park right here. I promise you'll have so much fun once your heart stops and then starts again. Welcome to the Bone Zone. Come play the necromantic way. Welcome to the Bone Zone. Get killed for free, resurrect today. Sign your corpse at the sound of the tone. Kathleen welcomes you to the Bone Zone. Spin the wheel of how did I die? Was it poison blades or a ghoul nearby? Win fabulous prizes, a ribcage hat, a femur flute, a dancing undead. Don't you love the spooky thrill? You can volunteer or I can kill. Either way, it's all the same. You'll rise again, improved by pain. Don't fear the dark, don't fear your doom. I'll tuck you snug in your tomb, then snap your back. New bone, new tone, ready to serve in my cobblestone throne. Welcome to the Bone Zone, where dying's just the entry fee. Welcome to the Bone Zone, where skeletons dance professionally. Just sign your spine on the mercy loan. Kathleen welcomes you to the Bone Zone. Oh darling, come closer. Yes there, see this scythe? It's purely for flair. Necromancers don't kill, we pre-adjust. A bit of death, a bit of trust. You'll be fine. Probably, maybe. Okay. No, but it's reversible. Probably. Rise, rise, join my undead prize. March, 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 till your joints go starch. Serve, serve in eternal bone reserve. With calls, obey the tone. Come on down to the Bone Zone. Welcome to the Bone Zone. You'll laugh, you'll scream, you'll moan. Welcome to the Bone Zone. Your corpse has never
They say I steal prompts. All right then, let's have this conversation.
Everybody pointing fingers from the cheap seats, looking at my workflow, trying to find receipts. That line looks familiar, the style ain't yours. Meanwhile, I've been building while they garden doors. You can read the blueprint, study every page, still gotta know the craft before you hit the stage. Everybody learns from somebody, that's history. Standing on foundations built before you and me. Musicians study legends, artists study form, builders study buildings before they're ever born. You can read the cookbook by the same pan, still won't make the meal exactly how I can. The prompt's just a compass and never walks the road. The creator is the engine, not the text you wrote. Everybody yelling, that's my line. Funny, I was busy making 20 more this time. Spend less time policing, spend more time creating. That's the difference between building and debating. Call me Mr. Steal Your Prompt. If it makes your day, I'll be making masterpieces while you type away. Same AI, same tools, different vision, different soul. Words are only sparks, the artist makes them whole. Mr. Steal Your Prompt, that's the story that you tell. But ideas keep on growing when they're shared as well. Less complaining, more creating, watch the numbers climb.
We'll be starting here in just a minute, folks. Making my coffee.
Let's keep it factual, not emotional today. Expression can be protected, ideas lead the way. Learning isn't stealing, that's how people grow. Every field in history is already shown. Programmers read code, church read recipes. Writers read the classics from centuries. Scientists read papers, teachers pass it on. Knowledge keeps expanding long after we're gone. If inspiration vanished, progress wouldn't breathe. We'd still be drawing circles under ancient trees. I'm not scared to learn and never have been, because confidence doesn't panic when somebody walks in. You can imitate the rhythm, you can imitate the rhyme, but you can't duplicate the years behind the climb. Every failure, every lesson, every late night sacrifice, that's the part no prompt can ever write. Call me Mr. Steal Your Prompt, say it loud again. Every accusation just becomes free marketing. Same keyboard, same software, same machine, different dream, different purpose, different team. I'm not chasing credit, I'm chasing excellence. While they're measuring my prompts, I'm measuring progression. Create, improve, that's the cycle, that's the proof. The greatest artists never stop becoming students. Mr. Steal Your Prompt. Mr. Steal Your Prompt. If that's the name you choose, I'll be busy making art while you're busy making excuses. Generation complete. They came for the icons, they came for the cross. Told me renounce my Lord, or count my life as a loss. But I've read the lives of the saints, how they sang singing and the darkest closes in. I remember Stephen's face, full of light and full of him.
Oh, Jesus, receive my spirit.
That's the prayer I'll pray.
Let on into your kingdom
On that glorious day. Carry your legs long
go through the light.
on the martyr's highway.
We are marching toward the light.
Chase those enemies
Death, where is your victory?
by the blood of martyrs. The church will always be free.
On the martyr's highway.
Take me home, Lord. Take me home. Carry
Crystals and mystic. Voices pile up without direction.
How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Night Owl. And it is Wednesday, my dudes. I won't scream into the mic. It's too early. I'm not awake yet. But you know what happens next. What's up, Angry Duck? What's up, Velasco? How's it going, everybody? We got some fun stuff today. Some AI videos, I think, are lined up. We got some good political shit lined up today. See the wax later. Fucking himbo fight. Yeah, she's sleeping through the night, Velasco. She is definitely a sleeper and a chunker. She is getting fat. Although the middle kid was kind of fat too, man. She was a fucking sausage roll, bro. Actually, I'll DM you some baby pics later, man. You're gonna laugh. Dude, the middle child had to wear one of those, like, what do they call it? Like, the back of her skull was like a little flat due to the like, you know, just like the infantile formation of the skull. So she had to wear like one of those helmets, one of those freaking bespoke like bracer helmets for her head to form right. She just looks like a fat little evil baby with a fucking mind control helmet. It's great. Good times, man. Good times. What's up, Jared Glasspool? Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. Alright. So I suppose we'll just get started. We're gonna watch the Himbo Mud Fight. Chi versus Future. I hear there's a lot of really good transitions in this one.
You boys know what to do? Fight!
transitioned last week. Good for you, people. I'm glad you're living your truest self. You know, you're living your best life. I'm glad you've finally come out. Man, when did the future get a tail?
Where's Leaflet?
She left 30 minutes ago. But keep fighting, my himbos!
Damn. I'm not gonna lie. That was the gayest shit I've ever seen. Lots of good transitions though, man. Like, really good, totally not jarring transitions. What's up, Emerald Scribe? Welcome in. They look like they're gonna kiss several times, and it's just big gay. I don't wanna watch my homies kiss.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And here's the meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, you know, just yesterday we spoke about that news article from a crappy left-wing outlet in Germany where they were essentially calling for a campaign of violence against the AfD as the AfD is rising. Nothing says the side of democracy, like calling for the death of an opposing political party that you don't like. That's basically the left-wing worldview, though, I guess. You know, we're losing democracy, therefore we now have the grounds to kill our political opponents. Absolute friggin' insanity, but you know, it's really no wonder why. Not only is the AfD rising in Germany, but they're also striking at the heart of the left-wing power
I
apparatus.
heard Germany
Core
invaded
strategy
Poland
of
again.
left-wing
That's kind of
power
funny.
expansion. That's of course mass migration and population.
If he's gonna touch on it or not, but apparently, like, German police have been rounding up their migrants and like taking them to the Polish border and then just dumping them off in Poland.
Replacement, bringing in droves and droves of newcomers, replacing your native population with new, more loyal voters, but most importantly, easily controllable voters. Well, the AfD isn't playing around, they're going all the frickin' way, and it's no wonder the left hates them so much, especially with their leader going on the record saying stuff like this. Let me show you guys what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look.
Afghans will no longer be flown in, and the Syrians will all be returned to their homeland. We have a total of 1.3 million Syrians among us. They are being diligently naturalized. Why is the German state naturalizing Syrians anyway? We were told back then that if the reason for fleeing no longer exists, they would all be returned. Nothing of the sort is happening.
In no uncertain terms, the Afghans and the Syrians, the illegal border crossers, the foreign North African invaders, well, she claims once the AfD rises to power, they're going home. And that, my friends, I don't think is an empty promise. Just speaking of the difference between the American Republic system and a parliament system, in a parliament, once you have a majority, I mean, you basically have free reign to do anything that you want. There's not as many checks and balances. Now, of course, that can work in your favor, but it could also work against your favor. It's kind of the main argument against nuking the filibuster, for instance. Well, they don't have a filibuster. They don't have a Senate chamber to get through and a Supreme Court nor a constitution that they must adhere by. And so basically, like by the snap of a finger, they could remigrate. And that appears to now be the promise of the AfD. In other words, as I stated, striking straight into the heart of the globalist leftist strategy, which ironically enough was essentially admitted by a former chancellor to Germany, Angela Merkel.
I can only say that if the AfD
Oops, my mic was muted. Yeah, like, it's alright. The YouTube chat is like a good, like, I think it's like a minute behind the actual stream. I'm not sure if there's anything I can actually do about that. So, I mean, I'll look into it. I'll try to fix it. I'm not sure if I can, but I will definitely try. Anyway, yeah, this is kind of funny. I don't know what to make of this. Like, Germany going like full nationalist again. As long as they don't do the socialist part afterwards, I think this will be pretty cool. I'm all for rounding people up and putting them in predetermined locations for various reasons. I think Germany has the right of it. I think we should follow their example and just round everybody up and maybe put them on trains, on planes, on buses, and send them to the locations of their origins.
had their way, I wouldn't be wanted here either. I campaigned. And I often couldn't even get a word in, because a few AFD supporters just shouted everything down. And I would hope that people with a migration background, or with a migration history, let's say that they feel enough connection to Germany to say, we're standing to make common cause with the AFD. The fact that we say, or I say, that there's no cooperation, and many others say the same, that this isn't simply based on simply not wanting to, but rather that they represent things that quite simply are incompatible with the fundamental principles of our Constitution. And I wish that everyone sticks together against this party.
It's not even like they were hiding it, but really it's been evident since day one this whole diversity being our strength mantra is a complete and utter farce, but they've been able to enforce it mostly through despicable social intimidation tactics. If you disagree, then you're a racist who should be vilified publicly. Well, nowadays, you know, that no longer carries much meaning. Nobody really cares anymore. And most importantly, Native Europeans have seen the results of mass migration and diversity. They've had enough of this clash of cultures. They're also seeing with their own eyes what's currently going on in Thueta, Spain.
No, I don't think I was in VC when you were showing your painter side, but I'm pretty sure it was lovely. And I probably agree with it. And in fact, my my actual take on this is like it's a lot harsher than just putting them on trains, to be honest. But I don't want clips of me floating around saying, fucking put all migrants in concentration camps and force them to work to pay back the money and the time and the effort that they have caused all these countries for invading and then leeching off of their systems. I don't think it's enough to simply denaturalize and deport, send them back to their own countries. I feel like they should actually have the work to repay what they've stolen.
Border of Morocco and the northern African tip.
An estimated 5,000 to 8,000 illegal Moroccan and African migrants remain in the Spanish enclave after the late July mass crossing. And rape, violence, abuse have inevitably...
I should learn to speak German just so I can like scream in angry German into the mic and have y'all wondering what the fuck I'm saying.
Followed suit, haven't they? Spain's largest police union, the SUP, reports 15 sexual assaults of varying severity since the 30th of July. The clear majority of victims are seemingly underage, some even migrant women themselves. Well, Reuters confirmed this. In one incident last week, 3 men described as brothers were stopped while allegedly trying to sexually abuse.
Little brother, I'll have you know, I was born like 5 minutes before this, man. I'm the older twin.
A 10-year-old girl. 4 young migrant boys have also been reportedly hospitalized after they were sexually abused in the city.
I
Finally,
hatched
I think a lot of
first.
people are starting to connect 2 and 2. The social stigma campaign of the left no longer carries weight, but nowadays people being less and less ashamed of protecting their home nation. And that's really what this is. It's not racist, it's not backwards, it's not a resurgence of Nazism. No, it's the right of the German people to continue to exist, to protect their country and their cultural inheritance. No more with this white guilt nonsense. I mean, you look at France and you see the scenes.
Moi qui est d'origine kabyle, j'ai quitté Marseille parce que je me sentais pas en France.
Ah, vous vous sentiez pas en France, vous, à Marseille?
Probably a maturity thing.
Pas du tout. Marseille, je vous dis sincèrement, je peux même pas la comparer à l'Algérie. C'est carrément, on devient...
I would say this guy sounds badass, but he sounds French, so that immediately, like, cancels him out. Look at all these fucking migrants and Muslims, though. Can't even recognize this man's country anymore.
That's a literal neighborhood in Paris, by the way. And very simply put, you know,
Literally
it's just
niggers in Paris.
no longer Paris. It's no longer French. And that's something that should horrify people. That's something that objectively is not a good thing. That is the erasure of a people. And no other continent on Earth would ever accept that. No other country would ever accept that. But for some reason, the European continent and the West at large in North America, we're supposed to shut up and just take it. No, take it no more. We've taken enough. And now the swift backlash emerges, and rightfully so. You even got countries like Sweden that we're now learning officially blocked 96% of all citizenship applications for the month of July, only accepting fewer than 100 people from mainly Nordic nations. You know, the social experiment has run amok. We see the gangs on the streets, the violence, the knife attacks, the grenade attacks, the terrorist campaigns, the systemic assault of our young women on the streets, and even just on a fundamental level, not even going into the extreme cases of crime and terrorism, we see the general failure of assimilation, the lack of interest of assimilation.
Tror du att Sverige kommer bli muslimskt om, låt oss säga 50 år?
100%, 100%. Det kan jag lova.
Är islam viktigare för dig än Sverige?
100%. 100%. Jag står för att vara muslim och...
Även när det kommer till lagar och så, står sharia över svensk lag?
Ja, jag ska vara ärlig mot det. Alltså, för att vara muslim, jag älskar för det jag står för och det jag är.
Sverige skulle...
It's just an invasion of blind religious sycophants, like blind soldiers, man. They're just going in, fucking following the religious dogma. Their whole ideology is to just conquer everybody who's not them. If you say otherwise, if you believe otherwise, you're fucking retarded. It's literally like the whole point of their religion is to take everybody over.
I krig med ett muslimskt land, skulle du vägra göra värnplikt då, eller?
Jag skulle ha stått för det, för att de är ju muslimer och jag står för det de säger. Det är mina muslimska bröder och systrar, så 100% jag skulle stå för det.
All of which is just becoming too much for native populations. People are realizing that we stand to lose too much, and that these fluffy notions of cultural relativism, they're completely bogus. The West is special because of the people of the West. People are finally realizing that, and most importantly realizing there's something here to protect, to preserve. We're a global minority. We owe the rest of the world absolutely nothing. Nobody is entitled to our land and our resources. Nobody is entitled to come in and replace our native population. And finally, it appears as though that culture is taking a foot in Europe. And frankly, that's got to be some of the best news I heard all year. Keep seething, leftoids. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
I mean, this is just a blanket fucking requirement for survival now. Is like we gotta remove all these fucking migrants. We gotta remove the Muslims. Just look here in the U.S. with Dearborn, Michigan. That whole fucking state is literally conquered by the fucking Muslims. Texas is coming up next, man. Literally, all these motherfuckers have to be rounded up and deported. Taken back to their own countries. There's no reason for them to be here. They aren't running from anything. Maybe in like 5 to 10 years they can re-immigrate through like the actual processes. But Lord knows they won't get in because the majority of them are fucking extremists. But yeah, essentially that's where it needs to be, man. We got to clean up our countries. Every single one of us, from the Europes to the Western world. Even South America, man. Like, everybody needs to just round up all their fucking illegals and send them back to where they came from. That's the only way.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And here's the meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Oh boy, I mean, talk about exceeding my expectations. And not in a good way, no, in quite the negative connotation. Holy frickin' moly, just when you thought Canadian leaders, and I guess by
well, mark my words, Michigan is going to be ground zero. Whatever fucking, if any conflict sparks from this shit, it's gonna spark in Michigan. It's gonna, like, the police force is under Muslim control. People aren't gonna be able to, like, they already can't peacefully assemble and talk about the fucking Muslim problem because the Muslim owns, like, the law enforcement there in Dearborn, Michigan. They already, like, they put out a video say that you can't come to City Hall and protest the Muslims, or the police force will act upon you. It's really fucked up. It's a bad situation, and if there's any fighting that ever happens in the streets here in America that's not just gangland nigger violence, like if there's any type of like revolution against like all this immigrant fucking establishment bullshit, it's gonna kick off in Dearborn, Michigan.
Extension, Canadian voters couldn't possibly be more inept, more incompetent, more mentally challenged. Well, they say, hold my beer, or my Canadian beer in this case, otherwise known as rat piss, or in the French-speaking part.
How is beer in Canada, Duck? Is it worth calling it Canadian beer? Is it any different?
Of Canada, holy frickin' moly, I mean, they were this close. President Trump was offering the Canadian government a relatively solid deal, as many were describing actually the best deal out of any other country, especially as you consider most trade is already covered by USMCA. But the Canadians at the last second flipped the table, spit their drinks in President Trump's face, gave him the middle finger, and walked out the back door, and have now decided to double down on possibly the dumbest economic strategy ever proposed, going to a trade war with a country that is 10 times your size and more than 10 times your economy's size, and escalate.
Yeah, if this is what I'm thinking he's about to talk about, I think Canada has like literally threatened to stop the power trade with us. We get a lot of our electricity from Canada. I was watching Alex Jones yesterday while I was at work, and he was talking about this shit. And that's literally what's going to happen is, like, they think they're going to, like, fucking do something by cutting off, like, trade like that. But really, we supply their GDP. Like, Canada's economy is all on the American dime. If they stop trading with America, their country is going to collapse. It's gonna be fucking stupid. But yeah, like, sure, do that, starve yourselves out, destroy your own country. We'll come in and pick up the pieces for free. Like, you won't even have the vote on fucking secession and joining America, because we'll just come in and fucking pick up the pieces and rebuild. Like, you'll just be American by default.
It to the level of dollar for dollar tariffs, which means literally nothing to the American economy, but means everything to the Canadian economy. In other words, they're shooting themselves in the foot, chopping their friggin' legs off, frankly. And of course, all of this now begs the question, well, why?
I don't even think we have to build them, Glasspool. I think we just need to reactivate them. As far as I know, we have like a whole bunch of nuclear power plants just kind of like sitting around that have been deactivated. I don't know what goes into reactivating them, but I don't think it would be that hard.
Is a lot more shockingly cynical than you could possibly imagine. I want to update you guys on everything that's going on here, and I want to tackle some of the ridiculous claims that are being made on the Canadian side. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so before the weekend, we were just covering this topic. President Trump had come out and said that basically the framework of a deal had already been agreed to. All that was left was to sign the paper. And then come Monday, we learned Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has totally slashed the deal. He then gets in front of the cameras once again and does this whole emotional appeal, even going as far as saying, we are at war. This is a trade war. We are being attacked.
Mark Carney is going to war. Trade war. The tone.
Because we were attacked. U.S. put 50%. We waited until the United States decided to actually implement these so-called 338 tariffs. That's fine.
And I see that, and once again, just from a diplomatic perspective, it seems rather shocking. Regardless of who the president is, regardless of what the situation is, if you're engaging in good faith in negotiations, you have to be smart. You can't play this hyper-emotional strategy. But with the Canadian government, it seems that's all we ever get. They're leading with Trump derangement syndrome, and leading with this, woe is me, I'm the victim, Donald Trump is a big bad bully, and he is bullying me and the whole world must rally against him. It seems rather misguided, rather stupid, frankly. Not just from a diplomatic strategy standpoint, but also just logically. You're under attack, really? Oh, well, President Trump is tariffing us. Yeah, well, the Canadian government imposes ridiculous protective tariffs on American farmers. Is that an attack on American sovereignty? Is that an act of war? You know, it's one standard for one side, another for the other. But this notion that Trump is attacking you, these are negotiations. Just because you have no leverage and may be in a little bit of a tight political spot in terms of the unions and political lobbies that support you, doesn't mean that you're facing an unfair attack. The whole thing is so ridiculous, and I think that's probably the most consistent theme throughout this whole situation. Canadian hysteria, but most insultingly, Canadian lies. Prime Minister Mark Carney claims that they walked away from negotiations because supposedly President Trump was supposedly looking to dismantle French language laws and cultural protections.
This was not our choice. We were there. We were ready and close to having a comprehensive agreement that would be fair to both countries.
Makes like absolutely no sense. Why the fuck would Trump care about like fucking laws about the French language in Canada? That doesn't make any sense.
We were close to that happening, and it seemed that we were close to reaching a comprehensive and fair agreement with the United States. But they made changes, including threats on the French language and Quebec culture and Canadian culture.
Well, again, you know, you hear something like that and you think, okay, maybe stay at the negotiation table? You're really gonna tank the entire negotiation over something so minuscule with the biggest economy in the world that you're totally reliant on? Seems kind of utterly preposterous and frankly, like some sort of a political pander. Oh, well, they're coming after our French sovereignty, but I, Mark Carney, oh, I stood there and told the evil orange bully that he will not have his way and I'm the protector of all French's peoples. That's what it feels like. And then it turns out the whole thing was apparently a lie, unsurprisingly to most people with 2 working brain cells.
You speak French,
do speak
James?
French. I do.
So
I really
you don't care
value
whether
French.
they change some of the language up there, whether they make it.
No, I mean that was a funny fake story, and I don't think that. I mean that I speak French. 2 of my kids speak French. One of my kids was born in Paris, so I like the Quebecois, and I like that they speak French. What we don't like is a situation where Canada, the federal government, forces American tech companies to take their earnings and give a percentage to their competitors in Canada. But I understand why the Quebec
have a good day.
Have,
see you in the chats.
French language content and all of that, and we think that's a really valuable thing, and we encourage countries to really, put their own country first and put their national identity first. That's actually quite consistent with.
So what is that? So what is that about then, Ambassador? There was some.
I think it's funny how like national identity is important when it comes to kind of dunking on Trump and shitting on America, but like they don't give a fuck about their national sovereignty when it comes to Muslims and other fucking outlanders invading their countries and killing their people and fucking replacing their culture. They don't give a fuck.
Reference to the idea that we wanted some of it to be either in English or that English had to be first or something like that. True? Not true?
That is not true. I can tell you that's not true. I think that's just, I don't know what that is about.
Trump administration official Jamieson Greer straight up saying that Mark Carney lied on this topic and that they have no interest in dismantling French culture and French cultural protections, even as going as far to say that he actually appreciates that and he and his family speak French as his kids grew up in Paris for a short period of time. So the whole premise literally bogus. And then to add insult to injury, we get this friggin' doofus, this unbelievable doorknob, the premier of Ontario, this absolute
that's Timu Trump.
as if he's got a major seat at the table. Well, President Trump put him to his place. He wrote this: lots of bluster from Doug Ford, who is the premier of the Canadian province of Ontario, but who is better known as the less charismatic, intelligent, and overall unimpressive brother of the late great Rob Ford. America has been carrying Canada for decades, but no longer. The United States of America will always be far bigger, richer, and stronger than Canada. Without the United States, Canada couldn't survive. It's where they get all of their money, and because of their current bad leadership, primarily Governor Carney and his flunky Ford, they will not be allowed to keep taking advantage of the United States, their key to survival. Remember, much of the electricity, oil, and gas that Canada gets is transported through the USA. Someone should get these clowns to, quote, fall in line, or the consequences for Canada will be far worse. Canada's unemployment rate is now at 10% and rapidly rising. Their businesses are fleeing.
Makes sense, Angry Duck. The majority of the world has TDS. A lot of people do. So I would expect it coming out of the Canadian government, to be honest. Like, if I were Trump, I wouldn't even negotiate with half of these countries, dude. I would just start making these power moves. Like, you know, the whole Greenland thing. I would have just did it. Cuba, I would have just did it. Fucking Brazil, I would have just did it. Iran, I would have just did it. Fuck that shit, dude. Like, you know how many more troops and supplies and shit we would have if we just started, like, taking everybody else's shit because we're the big kid at the playground? Like, we could just take everybody's toys. And nobody can do anything about it.
For the United States, and it's all because of their failed policies and inept leadership. The days of ripping off our farmers and other businesses are over. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And then here's the response from Doug Ford.
Canada has to stand up for their sovereignty. He's not attacking every other country saying that we're the 51st state. That will never happen. Again, we're the #1 customer. We buy more goods and products off the U.S. and vice versa, by the way, than anywhere in the world. And I think we need to grow the pie, per se, and create more jobs, more opportunities on both sides of the border. And that's what we want to do. I think President Trump wants to hurt the American people. It's going to cost the Americans up to $5,000 more on automobiles. It's going to cost them a few $1,000s more when these tariffs are impacted the U.S. I know the federal government and the Prime Minister is coming out with, I think it's over 95 pages of tariffs against the U.S., and that hurts the American people.
And once again, you know, just these ridiculous broad appeals to emotion. Donald Trump is a fascist. Oh, he's a bully. We're going to stand up to the bully. He then goes on to objectively lie about literally everything. America's losing jobs, he claims. Not the case. Also, this notion that Ontario is actually winning and gaining in jobs as America is following the false path that President Trump is paving. Completely ridiculous. The only country that stands to lose is Canada.
I'm going to go over with you in less than 60 seconds exactly why Canada can't put its elbows up. Ready? #1, our unemployment is 6.8%. America is 4.1. Our GDP per capita is in this It's the worst in the entire G7. America is the best, and it's obliterating the entire world. Our housing prices compared to disposable income here in Canada is off the chart. What? In America, they have more disposable income compared to their housing price.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. I would probably be living a good life right now if we weren't, like, literally supporting the entire world's fucking economy. Like, goddamn, like, we pay for everybody's healthcare, everybody's military, everybody's protection, provide a lot of shit for everybody. America on top all day, every day.
This is what a thing. Next up, our food inflation is the highest in the entire G7, 7.3%. Are you kidding me? Why? And last but not least, Canada's entire economy is smaller than the size of in Texas.
And now with these 50% dollar for dollar tariffs, the current economic outlook suggests that they might lose tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of jobs, especially as President Trump just enacted auto tariffs, which will completely decimate Ontario's auto industry. He then claims that grocery prices are going up in America, but they're going down here. Literally the exact opposite of the truth. And one of the issues that President Trump is actually trying to solve for Canadians by getting rid of all these trade barriers that create artificially high grocery prices for Canadian consumers. And he claims that real estate is getting more expensive in the United States, and it's all Trump's fault. But if you look at housing prices, the median housing cost in Canada is actually much higher than the United States, and yet the average Canadian household earns a fraction of what the American counterpart pulls in. In other words, Canadian homes are more expensive and people earn less money. Canada, by the way, the land of rich resource and lumber, their homes are more than 2 times less affordable. Not to mention they haven't had a GDP increase, at least per capita, over a decade. I mean, just absolute moronic behavior, but really I think kind of indicative of a larger phenomenon. This cynical left-wing globalist nonsense of leading with fear and Trump derangement syndrome, weaponizing Trump derangement syndrome, the orange man is always wrong and always bad, and riding that to political success. Essentially what we're seeing here is the most cynical, most shallow political posturing known to mankind, and I think this was probably baked in from the very beginning. I don't think the Canadian government was ever serious about negotiations. I don't think they want a deal. No, I think Mark Carney and Doug Ford are more interested in pitting themselves against President Trump for the next 2.5 years of his administration, and clearly they're willing to cause harm to their own people, to their own country, their own industries, as long as it means they get the headline of standing up to President Trump, because for some reason, for some twisted, unexplainable reason, it benefits them in the polls. That's obviously what's going on here. Standing up to the evil orange man, and then making lofty promises about realigning global trade. Mark Carney once again reaching into his back pocket and doing the same thing he did over a year ago.
And as the most European of the non-European countries, Canada looks first to the European Union to build a better world. This is a new era of cooperation. Our strategic Canada-EU or EU-Canada strategic partnership for the future will build a new and deeper relationship that brings us closer together.
This fall, we will begin intense discussions with the European Union, the world's second largest economy, to build a much stronger and deeper economic
Sounds a little gay. Sounds a little
We're
gay.
gonna realign trade with the Europeans. As if first off, the Europeans could ever bail them out of the situation they're currently in. Yeah, net zero, currently economically stagnating Europe, undergoing a massive third world invasion. Yeah, they're gonna bail Canada out. I mean, just logistically, it makes no sense because first of all, Europe's a joke, and secondly, it's not economically feasible. They don't have the ports or the infrastructure to start moving their expensive goods across the Atlantic Ocean. It's a whole lot easier to put them on trains and put them on trucks and through pipelines and get them just south of the border. The whole notion makes no sense, and also the idea that Europe would prioritize Canada in a trade war against their biggest economic consumer, the American market. Pure illiteracy, but also exactly what you'd expect from a WEF, globalist, leftist clown banker. What an absolute joke. And really what's funniest about this whole situation is that this pathetic posturing, I guess, is an attempt to shake Donald Trump, to scare him straight. I don't even think he cares. He posted what he had to say on Truth Social and then immediately did a public speaking engagement where he not once mentioned Canada. I literally don't think he cares. It's a 95-to-5 trade ratio, with the only leverage that Canada holds being oil in Alberta, which by the way, American companies have a heavy stake in. Canadian companies don't even control their own oil production. They're not scaring anyone except for gullible Canadian voters who continue to fall for these pathetic fear-mongering tactics. You know, throughout my career, I've witnessed a whole lot of foreign play and foreign disputes. This has got to be the dumbest, most cynical crap I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is a pretty fucking dumb notion for Canada to try to strong-arm negotiations like that, man. Would your whole fucking economy, when your whole country is, like, supported by the people you're trying to trade with, it's just not gonna be a good time. I don't know, I think they're both equally fucking, clowns, man. You got Timu RFK here, then the other guy is pretty much Timu wannabe Donald Trump. They're both a bunch of fucking retards. But you can't really expect much from Canadian politicians.
All I gotta say is thank God President Trump is not continuing to pursue this whole 51st state notion, because holy moly, talk about absorbing package of problems. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Okay, it's time to reckon with the future.
Oh man, is this some Warcraft fucking news? I can't wait for Classic Plus. That's gonna be neat. For those of you who don't know, Eustace, Angry Duck, and I have completed our kind of big playthrough that we were doing of Hardcore Classic. We went into the Dead Mines, we fucked up Van Cleef, so now we're just waiting for Classic Plus to come out so we can start a new playthrough with a whole bunch of other people. We're gonna have, I think Meg's gonna join us, Lily's gonna join us, maybe a handful of other people. We're essentially gonna have like a whole guild right off the bat. It's gonna be fun. I don't know what Classic Plus has in store, but if Hardcore Classics playthrough was any indicator of how much fun it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a great time.
Blizzard games. Now, if you've not been keeping up with them, I don't really blame you. There's a lot of apathy, well deserved, but there's also a hell of a lot going on. WoW is now 6 different games in one. Hearthstone is quietly pumping out new sets every few months. Overwatch became Overwatch 2 and is now back to being Overwatch again. Diablo 4 kind of popped off and its second expansion has been well received. And then Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft 2 are actually getting patches. It's all quite weird. So quietly, Blizzard have been grinding away at their product lines, but they haven't had real time in the positive spotlight for years. I mean, the last time something actually new and exciting came out of Blizzard, it actually didn't, because it was Odyssey, their survival game. The one that they made a really big event out of, sort of announcing just before the Xbox buyout that seemed to be a huge play into
that would have been good. That
genre,
fucking Blizzard
but
survival
they got
game.
cancelled after serious development problems. Of course, it's funny because since then, RuneScape Dragon Wilds has, well, proven that that kind of game is really up people's alley.
Dude, Dragon Wilds is so fun. I really want to play it, but we got Valheim coming up
Look at the
too.
current library, and it's a bunch of years-old games past their prime. And worse, some of them, like Hearthstone and to a far greater extent Rumble.
If you liked Final Fantasy XIV, you'll like WoW. WoW Classic in particular is it really brings back that nostalgic, I would say Classic would be kind of like a hardcore MMO. It's really grindy, you need resources, you really gotta manage your freaking pace and your characters' resources, like their mana pool or whatever. It's honestly, it's a game you really have to think about, especially when you play like the actual hardcore mode where like permadeath is active. You really got to think about how you approach things and how you pool things and just general footwork in the game. You'd probably like it.
Are kind of feeling in managed decline. Rumble especially, that thing's basically dead. And it all leads to a pervasive feeling that Blizzard are slow, lumbering.
I liked Warcraft Rumble. It was a fun phone game. I played it for a little bit. It was definitely really, really grindy for unlocking all the fucking characters, but Warcraft Rumble was not a bad game. I'll have to check that out. That sounds fun. I like the slower paced MMOs. To be totally real, that's why I'm so hardcore into RuneScape. It was like one of the first ones that I played. I started on Dragon Quest and Adventure Quest, or Dragon Fable and Adventure Quest, and then RuneScape was free to play, so I played RuneScape a lot, while practically salivating over the idea of playing Warcraft. I would make a whole bunch of like free trial accounts back when you could just like sign up for like a 14-day free trial with a fresh email. I would just do that constantly. Never make any real progress, but had fun every fucking time I played.
So with that in mind, you may have been as surprised as I was when I saw this headline. Blizzard is now the top performing Xbox studio. In a way, that's good news. But I think it almost may be a little bit of a threat, given
I think Blizzard is only the top performing studio because Xbox has been closing all their fucking studios.
How Xbox studios have tended to be doing. According to Jez Corden, probably the most Xbox-connected journalist around, Blizzard's apparent stagnation has actually transformed into victory. Now, you may think there's a bit of a catch there. You know, something like, every Xbox studio is failing, so Blizzard wins in a technicality. But no, they are straight winning. Jez's source is an internal email from Blizzard's
Fun is
president,
definitely the
Faris,
main
and
factor
here's the key
resource
part
in
of
gaming,
that
that's
email.
for sure.
In
If
FY26,
it's not fun,
Blizzard
what's the
ended year
fucking
as the
point?
top-performing studio in Xbox's Studios division, and this past year marked our third highest fiscal for top-line revenue in Blizzard's history. Does sound like CEO speak soup, but I think it's fairly clear. Even if King of Xbox isn't exactly a prestigious crown, the third best year in Blizzard's whole history is actually a pretty high bar. And it's not down to anyone's success, they've basically been fairly consistent. They've now grown 2 years back-to-back, and it's apparently the first time that's happened since 2017, which you'll remember as the year after Overwatch and Legion. So, where's all this success coming from? There are 2 games that Faris calls out as being really successful. Of course, there's Diablo's expansion, which has seen massive praise for both story and endgame, and also Overwatch. She said they both have exceptional performance, and Overwatch had its strongest quarter since 2022, the year that Overwatch 2 launched. Yep, somehow unlaunching Overwatch 2 kind of beat launching it. And look, that seems insane for those of us out of the loop, but if you look at what Overwatch players are saying about their game, it seems great. The story arcs, gameplay overhaul, and targeted brand deals have apparently went down well with people. People are happy, they've made a bunch of money, so it seems all's good over there. But enough of that stuff, this is a WoW channel, what about WoW? Well, we've got severe issues with WoW's story and patch quality. Can't really get away from that. And in this email, there is no call-out for WoW in terms of it being a specific success, so it's possible it has a good impact to the bottom line, maybe not, who knows. What we do seem to actually know is their strategy is working for the company in general. They're releasing content people mostly like, and importantly, content that people are showing up to spend money for, and that may mean that some of the particularly macro microtransactions are doing well for them. You know, looking at Hearthstone, looking at Overwatch, etc. Now that we're more familiar with where Blizzard is, though, we've got to look at the future. BlizzCon is just a few short weeks away, and if they want people to actually feel as good as apparently their balance sheet feels, well, they're going to need to have some pretty big reveals. Okay, the BlizzCon leak. I know I've shown you this BlizzCon leak before, but it matters here. Jez knows that it's out there, and he's been hinting at it being real. You see, in the same article that shared that headline, he dropped quite a few hints. So BlizzCon will reveal The Last Titan. That's basically a given. Then there are transmedia projects, you know, the equivalent to Cyberpunk Edgerunners or Fallout. And if we're to read into those as hard as we can, well, it does look like an animated series and a TV show. Exactly what our leak suggests. Jez also says he's heard about mobile game spin-offs being developed with other partners. That doesn't sound too exciting to me, but remember that Hearthstone, a pretty damn good game actually, was also a spin-off. Of course, because these are partnered games, I'm thinking a lot more Diablo Immortal, and I'm assuming those will be more targeted at the Chinese market. I can't say I'm gagging for a Warcraft experience in mobile, but I'm open to it as long as it's not another Clash Royale clone. Looking at you, Rumble. Moving through the games though, Jez also brings up the StarCraft third-person shooter and even the next core Diablo project. The shooter
You know what I think would do really well in the WoW IP? Either a single-player RPG, kind of like Skyrim, right? Where you get to create your own character and kind of like live through this whole like fantasy setting scenario as like your predetermined character. You know, you have pretty much the majority of the WoW world, or like a good chunk of it where the story takes place. Pretty much explorable, like almost like on a 1-to-1 scale, depending on like what time period they actually set the game in. I personally think if they were to either set it during the like the first war, like just classic orcs and humans, I think it would go really hard because a lot of really cool shit happened there. Or if they set it during the Scourge, right? Like Third War, zombies everywhere, Strathome's burning. You're just like some random fucking paladin or warrior in the middle of the Plague Lands trying to figure out what's going on. I think that would be sick too. Yeah, just single player, story driven, Warcraft aesthetic. I think that would go really fucking hard. Either that or survival crafting. Can't go wrong with survival crafting.
Absolutely has to come sooner rather than later, apparently. Jez didn't mention Classic Plus, of course, but he didn't really have to because we pretty much all know that that is on the docket. Now, sure, none of this stuff is new IP like we were going to get with Odyssey, but I think Blizzard's quiet success has proved the new IP isn't absolutely necessary. From all that we can tell, instead of risking it all on big expansion of entirely new things, this generation of Blizzard leadership wants to make sure that we're getting more of the games that we actually show up for. Now, for years, we've all been lamenting how it felt like WoW's profits were siphoned off to fund failed projects at Blizzard, like Titan. Overwatch was, of course, a genuine miracle, born from the corpse of Project Titan, the thing that burned all the WoW money. Project Odyssey sure looks like it was heading the same way as Titan, maybe they killed it a bit sooner. And I think that means that when it comes to new IP, Blizzard really gets performance anxiety. And that performance anxiety, I think, means that they waste time and money overthinking it. Meaning that by the time whatever it is ready, it would just be too late. Like, say, Warcraft Rumble. A good
a WoW VR experience would do pretty well too, I think.
Good enough game, but one that was probably 5 to 8 years late. But I bring all that up because, with hindsight, it's obvious. All that investment should have just been going into more Warcraft this whole time. It's insane that it wasn't. But now, many years later, we're going to see what that approach seriously looks like, and as long as there's no major lapse in judgment, no undercooking it, Reforged style, well...
Yeah, genuinely, I think Blizzard should do what Blizzard does best, and just make good games, bro. Go back to your basics. Fucking double, triple, even quadruple down on WoW. Make the shit great again. Make it less gay. And leave the war in fucking Warcraft. Bring it back. I don't want to see your fucking game directors and fucking executives saying that you regret naming the game Warcraft. It's literally what the fuck it's all about. It was supposed to be a grim, dark fucking fantasy game. Like, your whole origin story is a villain story, bro. Like, Blizzard, you guys wanted to make a 40k game, and Games Workshop told you to fuck off, so you said you were going to make your own 40k with blackjack and hookers, and you did at first. But now you've just gotten mad gay, and you need to fucking reverse course. That's it. Go back to making cool, fucking violent, gory shit, with great story and great characters, and succeed. That's all you have to do. It's that easy.
Tease a baseline of success. People will show up for Warcraft. And what that means is that if you look at a list of likely Warcraft projects, well, the next few months and years look bright. Last Titan, Classic Plus, TV shows, maybe the RTS and Arthas games? Of course, those things have to be good, but with basically zero information to go on, all that we can do is hope. Which, to be honest, doesn't always work. But what we can also do is look even more far forward, to the far future, and just how much Warcraft it seems that'll hold. One thing we can expect Xbox to do is siphon the profit from their winning things to sort of subsidize the failing things. Xbox will siphon off all their profit to support their failing studios. WoW will hit end of service when everyone leaves after the last Titan. Blizzard will become the Diablo and Overwatch company. Xbox will bank everything on the future of John Halo and absolutely shit the bed, leading to the whole thing collapsing. That's the worst possible case. And it's mostly a joke. Mostly. Now, the post-Last Titan fears are absolutely worth addressing for WoW, because FF14 ran into the same issue with Endwalker. Endwalker was the end of a decade-long story arc, a perfect stopping point for people who are just ready to move on. The Dawntrail numbers back that up with a huge dip in players. But it's looking like a blip rather than an ongoing trend. Excitement around Evercold is growing and the devs are making major, obviously hungry to keep the game alive types of changes. Basically, the choice is in.
Well, did you not see the thing about how, like, the whole, like, Blizzard files was just, like, a made-up fucking lie? And they used that to just, like, fire all the good devs and hire a bunch of fucking bitch-ass women? It was literally a coordinated attempt to ruin, like, one of the most, like, testosterone-inducing franchises of all time.
Innovate or die, and it seems they're choosing to innovate. That's definitely good, and it's what Blizzard will need. People are absolutely going to throw in the towel after a good enough 20-plus year run. But if we can see that coming, then Blizzard can see it coming as well. And one thing we've noticed around the edges is they have been laying the story groundwork for a proper revamped Azeroth, and that alone I think will stem the bleeding. I mean, let's be realistic, it's going to take a hell of a lot more than just an ending for people to give up their decades of hard work. Maybe throw in Tinker, a new race or two, and the promised character customization overhaul, and people will probably find excuses to stay for one more expansion. Never mind the new players that the TV show will bring in, should it happen and should it be good, and likely a situation of those new.
I think if they do a full Warcraft revamp, they should do what RuneScape did and just like keep everything, but just also remake everything, right? So like you can go back and grab like all the old style shit in RuneScape. Like no matter how much they develop it, they still keep the old shit in game. So like you can go easily back to the old style, i.e., like old school RuneScape exists, and they've even expanded on that. It's kind of more or less RuneScape Plus now, which is really cool. You pretty much like all the items are still in the game unless they've just been like purposefully removed from the game for some reason. Some items have updated looks, yeah, and they have like cosmetics that you can apply to make them look like the old way. But a lot of the old shit is still in the newer version of the game. I think that's like just the way they should go about it. Like just, give everything a facelift, update everything, but like don't change it.
Players having a better leveling experience than we do today. You see, what's clear to me is that for every danger in Warcraft ending a big chapter, there is an opportunity for the next one to do what it needs to do. Even if it won't look anything like the young and hungry Blizzard of 20 years ago, corporate Xbox-owned Blizzard have at least proven that they have what it takes to keep players coming back. I have severe misgivings about that in World of Warcraft, and I think it may end up, well, running into diminishing returns as lower and lower quality end up, well, hurting people's trust in the game, trust in developers, and of course risk engendering deep apathy. Though to put those worries aside for a second, there is another genuine fear. Xbox may notice that Blizzard is carrying and abuse that fact. Maybe hit them with higher expectations, more meddling, all the worst corporate instincts. A little bit like if you're in a Soviet factory that manages to exceed its quota and then gets punished with a higher quota. Kinda worried that'll happen. But at least for now, it seems Blizzard are insulated enough to make calls the way that they want to. So, going by the leaks that Jez is reporting on, Blizzard have found a way to crawl out of their recent failings, and the future could be very, very bright. And I guess we'll see if that's true in about 3 weeks. Though if you ask me, my number one concern, my number one, I suppose, black pill about the whole thing, is when it comes to narrative, world building, and quality of delivery, Blizzard standards have dropped. And what's even worse is that as they've dropped, and we've had multiple patches in a row across multiple expansions of this diminished quality, WoW's game director has basically just said, continually, that there is indeed no war in Ba Sing Se. And I have to say, if that attitude continues, then I really think World of Warcraft needs something fundamentally different on the top, on multiple levels, because clearly their definition of good is not good enough for the modern market. And maybe that's why World of Warcraft didn't get quite the call out that Overwatch and Diablo did in Johanna Faris's letter. Indeed, that's why I've chosen not to bother with BlizzCon, and it's why, to be completely honest with you, I'm not interested in doing interviews with any of those Blizzard people, because quite frankly, they are a complete waste of time. They very rarely amount to much, and continually, we've just seen interviews that, while they may speak to reality, I think they don't comport with reality. And it's especially frustrating in situations like patch 12.1. 12.1 deserves better than the launch that it got. Loads of people have clearly tried really hard to do really cool things, and the patch is actually packed with brilliant stuff. I would say the gameplay of World of Warcraft is really fantastic. It's just everything else around it, and if you want to learn about that, check out this video next.
Yeah, I feel like that's like the biggest problem with WoW is just the devs fundamentally hate the fucking game. They're trying to ruin it. They need to rehire the old devs or find new ones that actually like the game and want to improve it, make it better, not kill it. That's the thing.
Hayden Christensen is reportedly in the final stages of signing a multi-picture deal with Disney and Lucasfilm, with the biggest part of the report claiming a
I'm gonna
standalone
start
Darth
trying to get you
Vader
to play fucking WoW too, Velasco. Especially this next Classic run of Classic Plus. Play WoW. Do it. Do it. You can install it and play for free right now, up to level 20.
movie is being developed around his return. So pretty much wherever you look on social media, we are seeing tons of these posts and reports, and nothing is really confirmed at all whatsoever by Lucasfilm or any official media publication. But usually as rumors come out, then it eventually is known.
Mostly.
This, however, I don't know. Obviously, as a major fan of Hayden Christensen and Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker, this for me would be a no-brainer. I'd be extremely excited for this, and I think this is really kind of like, you know, in a video game when you're going through all of the levels and you're holding that one main ability, that one power that you only have like one chance to do, and you hope it works. It's like the ultimate weapon, and you only have limited ammo on that. I feel like this is that for Star Wars. This is that move. You can do the Mandalorian movie, you can do the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, you can do all of these different projects.
If they fuck with Vader and do a whole Vader series, they need to make it like extremely fucking badass, extremely dark, and extremely violent. If it's not some fucking evil motherfucker killing people left and right, throwing temper tantrums and like just fucking breaking people's necks when he doesn't get his way, you know, like, it's just not gonna work. Like, Darth Vader was a ruthless, evil son of a bitch. He was. It doesn't matter that he used to be Anakin Skywalker. His existence after being put in the suit was fucking hell. He hated it. He hated everybody. He hated himself. It's gonna be a really hard thing to do.
But at the end of the day, if you do a Darth Vader movie or a multi-picture Darth Vader movie, you will be maxed out. Like, it has to be an absolute...
Yeah, it's understandable, Glasspool.
This would be like...
I mean, the offer is always on the table, man. I think it's like an open invitation. Like, we could just like build a whole fucking guild, have a big thing of it.
This is like bringing Hugh Jackman back into the Marvel universe, which is ironically what they're doing now, of course.
Well, that's the real trick, isn't it?
But to get a Darth Vader movie, beyond the fact that Darth Vader for me is the most interesting character in all of fiction, with depth and character development, I do think that we need to tread really lightly on this to make sure that the writing is really, really sound. Now, if Dave Filoni is going to write this, I'm interested to see what angle, what position he's going to take with Darth Vader. It has to be so much more than, you know, Vader walking down and killing a bunch of Jedi that survived Order 66, because there are so many now at this point. It has to have a lot of story and a lot of depth for Darth Vader. Which version of Darth Vader is this? Is this a Anakin right after Revenge of the Sith? Is this a in-between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope? Is this some point in the original trilogy where he's much older now and quite a bit more Darth Vader than Anakin? Because, in my opinion, there's a gradient with Anakin being Darth Vader. And you see this gradient where it's, you know, it's somewhat blue, purple, or there's Anakin and Vader in there, and then it's mostly red. Anakin's always in there a little bit because he never fully goes. Then it's quite red during the original trilogy and as you get into it. And then once Luke comes around, it starts to change back to purple, and then it goes to blue right at the very end of his life. And for us to get a compelling story about Darth Vader, I think it has to be something that tells the story of that version. It can't just be, you know, yes, Vader is very cool.
I think it would be funny if they made a series that was all about that specific aspect, right? Because they kind of did this in some of the extended universe books. Vader would hallucinate Anakin all the fucking time. He would see a vestige of his former self and like actually, you know, get into fucking arguments and like sometimes fight it. because it was like his inner self arguing with his current self. Like Anakin would show up and be like, "You're kind of a nigger, Vader," and then Vader would be like, "You a bitch, I killed you." And then, you know, they would have like some like inner fucking mind force battle. It happened a few times, but I think that would be like a really interesting concept to kind of like lay on Vader. Is that, like, you know, with everything he does, like his former self is always like nagging him in the back of his head.
Very awesome. You have him walking around in cosplay, people are going to be like, "Oh my god, he's so and he's just walking," right? But then you can also really damage the character because he is so mysterious, he is so powerful, he is so cool. If you make him look like he's sidelined in his own show, or he's dumb, or he's just not very competent whatsoever, can't use the Force like we thought he would. Like in the Kenobi show, for example, I thought it was really ridiculous how they did a couple of decisions that they did.
What up,
He was
Nicola?
afraid of that little bit of fire.
How has it been?
Right?
I heard you
Anytime
got
saw
sick
around
for
it,
a
or he
while.
could put it out with the Force, something like that. Especially at that point in time, that, you know, that far out. Vader has had time to deal with a lot of his emotions and a lot of his demons. And while he doesn't deal with them very well, he's at least been able to meet them with force. No pun intended. So for me, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Star Wars fans would be extremely ecstatic, excited. I think we would have something to finally talk about again that would be like really worth it. And it would bring in so many different people from the fandom, right? Like the animated shows, in my opinion, I love them. I think they're the best stuff that Disney Star Wars does. And I think that Maul Shadowlord brought out a good chunk of people, but still, it didn't bring out as many normies as The Mandalorian did, right? So you have so many different factions of people and Star Wars fans out there that I think a Darth Vader movie would literally bring everyone.
No one's ever really gone.
All the people. Mandalorian fans, everyone. Normies, hardcore fans, prequel fans, original fans. It would bring everyone together. Now, would it keep us together? That really comes down to the writing. And the writing has to be ironclad. It has to be absolutely phenomenal. Beyond just Vader looking cool and fighting and using his force powers, what's really going on with the Anakin inside? What's going on with the Darth Vader inside? What's that conflict like?
There is conflict.
How is he dealing with all of the stuff that he's dealing with? Because as George Lucas said, Darth Vader is really just a tragic character. A lot of people think he's like super cool and badass and tough. He's really just tragic. He's depressing. His story is a tragedy, which kind of ironically harkens on the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. It's really the tragedy of Darth Vader. And when you realize that and you see all of the stuff that he actually had to go into, I highly recommend you read Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. It takes place after Revenge of the Sith. And you really start to see, you learn all of the things that Vader has to go through.
I think he did that when he blew up Alderaan, to be totally honest. I think they had some beaches there. So, definitely glassed that planet.
Physically and mentally and spiritually. Like everything from all of the pins and needles from his helmet that go into his head, or, you know, the fact that he can't ever sleep, not because he's just constantly going in his brain, which he is, but also like the light on his chest box doesn't stop. It just keeps him, it's blinking and it just keeps him awake. Or, you know, his breathing, it keeps him awake. Like all of these things he has to get used to over time. Like it is a profound book. And I just wonder if they would be able to properly showcase that to the audience, because I do know that they definitely like to placate to all of the Star Wars community. Not just the prequel fans or the OG fans or the diehards who know a lot about stuff, but also a lot of entry-level normies that come in, which brings in new people, but then you kind of get like a surface level of Star Wars, which isn't good. And I feel like Dave Filoni hopefully can bring about a story that will bring in everyone together and also cover a lot of the harder, more intricate levels of Star Wars and depth of Star Wars that we always wanted to see as diehard fans, so that everyone can enjoy it equally. If anything, I would prioritize the fans that...
It's gonna be a hard sell, man. Like, you gotta write it correctly. You gotta do right by Vader. If you don't do it right, you're gonna fucking destroy the franchise. There's a lot of weight on that.
Really are deep into the lore of this stuff, and believe me, the normies will catch up. They will be so intrigued. They'll be like, oh, this is sick. You telling me you watched Lord of the Rings, like you're not going to be interested? I didn't know crap when I watched it the first time, but I wanted to go in and dive and learn about the lore. And it made me want to pursue about the information, about the story, and about all these characters and the side, all that stuff. And that's what makes it fun. Sometimes when you're thrown underwater, you really learn how to swim. And in this case, with lore and stuff, if you're interested, you'll seek it out and you'll deep dive into it. It's really fun. So I hope that whatever they do, if this is real, which I mean, I keep seeing it pop up, and I see this, they need to make a rated R Darth Vader trilogy. No, I don't really care what the rating is. You know, leave it PG-13, just like Revenge of the Sith was. It just needs to have a really great story. And that, for me, is what will separate this from just something that's mediocre and cool and has Darth Vader in it to something that is, holy shit, that really expanded on Darth Vader's story and really helped you to understand a lot of what goes on inside of his head and what he's dealing with. And to see his raw power and emotion and his conflict and that little flicker of Anakin on the inside as well. And this is the most important thing. It doesn't change anything when it comes to Revenge of the Sith or the original trilogy. And it just keeps it as it is, but only expands upon it in a really nice way, kind of like the Clone Wars did for the prequel trilogy. So I am all on board for this. I think Hayden Christensen, Darth Vader, absolutely. I know that he wants to get back into the suit more than being Anakin. But I think that if they do it right, then yeah, of course it'll be great. But I think the biggest question here is who's going to be the writer? What is his or her understanding with Darth Vader? And how are they going to portray, arguably, and in my opinion, the most important fictional character in movie history? We'll see if it happens. In the meantime, I hope to bring you guys some entertainment with Vader Episode 3 to bring Vader's arc and character full circle. Thanks for watching, guys. You can grab
What's
all
up,
these
future?
sabers and our new anti-gravity stand, which floats at theorysabers.com, as well as all of our merch and everything else that you may want. This saber is actually beautiful. It's called Heir to the Throne, and it is phenomenal in person. It's made of 200 different pieces. And the Episode 2 Shatterpoint BMF saber, signed by TC Carson, numbered out of 200, is almost sold out. So we have sold over 75% already of this, limited to 200 pieces, and we have the last quarter left with them going every single day. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.
Man, I want some of the exclusive lightsabers that Theory has, dude. He has one that's literally called the, it's called the Father. And, it's just like the Ralph McQuarrie concept of a lightsaber for Vader. It's so fucking cool. I want it. But it's like mad expensive. I would so totally buy the fuck out of this, bro. Like, look at that. Look at that emitter. The handle. Shit's so cool.
Everybody, welcome.
I was ready for that. Oh man. Bear with me. This is Emerald Scribe's video. And it's about Lindsay Clancy, so you're gonna hear me say some very misogynist shit.
To Emmy the Hedgehog's World of True Crime, I guess. I'm Emmy the Hedgehog. She do it in January 2023, and now she's on trial, so that's how it else. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're going to be responding to actual justice warriors, lonely women of TikTok, lonely women of Tik defend Lindsay Clancy. So here's the thing, I don't know anything about the Lindsay Clancy situation. I've just been seeing headlines. Apparently lots and lots of people are rallying, well, lots of women are rallying behind her for some reason. It all feels like a prank to me, to be honest. I don't feel like this is real. I haven't, watched any videos about it. I haven't looked into it at all. But I'm actually streaming right now, and we have some time, so I guess I'm doing a reaction slot video. And this has just been something I've been really curious about. I actually do like true crime on the side. I don't know, it's just one of those things. You gotta remember that evil actually exists. It's not always just some poor soul that, just needs a hug and everything will be fine. Evil is there and exists. And it's one of those things where it's like, if you're a soft, squishy person, then yeah, it reminds you of that.
Yeah, it's like the big thing, man. People have been promoting this whole oh, nobody's just bad, everybody's just a product of their environments, everybody's just a tragedy, you know. No, there's true evil out here in the world, and sometimes evil looks like a Foyd who strangles her 3 children to death with exercise bands. Why is there even a trial, right? There shouldn't be a trial for this. As soon as it's ascertained that this transpired, the perpetrator should just be dragged out back and shot in the back of the fucking head by the apprehending police. They should never make it to a jail cell. There should be no taxpayer funding of their longevity in any capacity. Once it's ascertained that, hey, this person murdered their 3 children. They held down an 8-month-old baby and strangled them with an elastic band. No, that person should just be executed on the fucking spot. Once there's sufficient evidence to pretty much say that, hey, look, this lady is, her hands are bruised up, burnt from holding the exercise bands around these kids' necks. She's clearly had a psychotic break. There's no fixing that. Just all kinds of evidence. It has to be precise. I'm not just saying, openly fucking execute anybody accused of a crime. Shit like that was just, it's apparent. You can't really confuse anything. All these dumb bitches on the internet that are oh, the husband did it because he looks mean. All the voices she heard were her husband. He drugged her and forced her to do it. I saw one bitch trying to say that she he trained the kids to attack her and she had to kill them in self-defense. Women are fucking retarded and just devoid of accountability. Yeah. Alex Jones got less of a fucking trial than this bitch. And Alex Jones didn't even do anything. The whole trial was fucking staged and produced. He didn't do anything wrong. And in fact, if you watch his show, he's talking about legal proceedings against the entire government for perpetrating that show trial against him. It's bad. Damn, Velasco. If only you weren't at work or something, you could hop in and be misogynistic by my side.
So, without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's go.
The Lindsay Clancy trial is one of the most significant trials of your lifetime. We are all experiencing something.
How?
Something completely unprecedented. Never before have we seen so many mothers and women rally behind somebody who confessed to killing her 3 children. And
what about Andrea? I guess a lot of people, I don't know, Andrea Yates was was kind of an interesting case. Like, she actually, I don't know. I have a feeling this is not like that, though. Like, this is actually evil and not just mental illness. Anyway, let's keep going.
It is not because we cannot hold women accountable. Many of us see ourselves in Lindsay.
So there's an old saying that...
What? Okay. Continue, I guess?
loves a murder mystery, but what if you have a murder or a triple homicide and there is in fact no mystery behind it? What if you have a confession from the person who did it? What if you have her attorneys arguing in court that she did in fact do it? The prosecution is pretty damn sure that she did it. The evidence all points to this woman definitely doing it, and yet you have a bunch of people on the internet.com crafting a mystery around the husband, who, by the way, was sent away as a part of this murder plot by Lindsay Clancy. Yes.
Wait, I'm confused. Oh.
The story that we're working about today, and yet still on.
Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, she hit the be right back stream.
Okay. Yeah, that was Hawthorne.
But no, essentially, like, this bitch, like, strategically sent her husband out of the house so she could murder her fucking kids. Like, it's so bad. Like, she confessed to doing it. She did it the worst way possible, and then tried to kill herself afterwards and failed in the worst way possible. I'm gonna DM you. You pretty much go to the purple, like, internet icon at the bottom and click join room. You have to have like a specific DLC to do the VTube Studio fucking collab feature, though. I don't know if you have that, but it would be beneficial to do so. I DM'd you the password for the room. Snap. Oh, we're gonna have to get in the Discord call too.
Okay. Yeah, that was Hawthorne. He just wanted to ask me something, and then he went, okay, you can go back to work now. Alright. Continuing on.
On the internet.com, you have people saying it's a murder mystery. In fact, the husband did it, they've solved the mystery, and yeah, this is yet another example.
Oh yeah, that was the thought I had, was, so the husband was sent away, and they think that he did it, even though I guess there's evidence that she sent him away to... I was just looking at my baby just now, and that, I'm gonna keep going.
Of the vast mental illness that is going on in the true crime community, and by the way, this is very reminiscent of what is going on.
It's not even the true crime community, because a lot of people hate this bitch. It's a bunch of weird ass, dumbass, freakish ass women. Like, it's just women. Nobody supports this outside of, like, weird, like, leftist feminist women. And I think even the support for her is, like, some sort of psyop. I feel like this whole case is just, like, a really weird fucking psyop that's meant to either distract us from what's really going on, or it's meant to, like, really drive a wedge between men and women. I've seen, like, kind of psyop-y statements from both sides. I've seen people be like, hey, if your wife agrees with Lindsay Clancy, leave her. If your girlfriend agrees with this, leave her. Like, you know, like, people are initiating divorces and breaking up their families over this shit. And, like, I don't agree in destroying your family over, like, a disagreement. Like, it's a pretty hardcore disagreement, and, like, you can hash that out between your family members, right? But, yeah, it just seems everything seems a little off to me about this.
With the Charlie Kirk case, which is being promoted by Candace Owens, just did a video, by the way, about the Andrew Wilson, Candace Owens show of a debate on this channel. I'll link that in.
Oh, Future, sorry, Future's not live right now. I was just remembering, I actually do want to react to Trent Horn stuff because I like him and he's cool. He actually had something funny to say about the Candace Owens-Andrew Wilson's case, and he said, well, the clear loser of this battle was anybody who saw this mess. So that made me happy.
Description so you can get a little bit more on my thoughts on that. And yeah, this is the same exact thing. A lot of times these are the same exact audience members because these people are convinced that Lindsay Clancy absolutely did not do it, or if she did do it, then she was justified because women be depressed after they give birth. And yeah, it's horrific. It's
No. If you, okay, you know what? I don't care anymore. Listen. If you have postpartum depression, and if you are not safe to be around your babies, you do everything you can to protect them, even from yourself. Anyway, moving on.
disgusting. It's absolutely crazy, and yet it still goes on. And in fact, they're trying to raise $2 million for this woman yesterday when I checked, and it could be worse at this moment in time, but yesterday they were at $700,000, and this is all due to the fact that left-wing women on TikTok, true crime fanatics, true crime mystery engineers who have engineered a mystery where there was not one, have decided that Lindsay Clancy is either justified or secretly not guilty. So this is what we're going to talk about today. This is what we're going to discuss. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who's...
Oh, you know what? I just remembered something. I think I do actually remember this case when it was first coming out. And yeah, it did sound like a huge postpartum thing. But even so... Yikes. Okay, I'm gonna keep watching because I'm starting to actually remember what's up. Like, yeah. Okay. Let's keep on.
Podcast, they're saying that this woman is sitting in court while the real perpetrator...
I will say this though, she does look absolutely empty. Like, man, ugh. Okay, so listen. Why are they saying the husband did it, though? Like, if she actually had mental illness, the husband was living with his okay, oh, sorry, Future. Okay, the husband was living with his parents because they were split up. Okay. She was home alone with them, plus she admitted to killing them. Got it. Bitch being crazy. Oops. Probably should bleep that for YouTube. Being crazy is no excuse for what she did, and the whole defense of she is crazy is not responsible for actions. Nah. He looks mean, that's it. Literally, he looks mean. Okay, so... Got it. So they're saying that the husband did it, even though it's very clear that he didn't. Just because he looks mean. Okay, I'm gonna keep watching.
And the camera ends up panning to her husband who's testifying, is actually...
He doesn't look mean.
the one who's on the stand right now, and she is just forced to accept this. Now, of course,
Wow.
this is not.
If anything, he looks empty too, but like in a different way.
Yeah, I would be a little checked out too after this, not gonna lie.
But not mean, not in a mean way.
Reality, people, this is not what happened, and if you're unfamiliar with the Lindsay Clancy story and how much of a non-mystery it is, let me break it down for you. So Lindsay Clancy.
Okay, before I continue, I am absolutely disgusted by how many women are coming out in support of this, because
There he is. There he is. Joined a Discord.
And this is a huge.
Now I gotta. Where is it? There we go. That's how I do it. See how that looks on the stream. There we go. Alright. Join the Discord call. And I will stream late
Am I in the right spot?
Yeah, the live streaming section. I'm going to, once I find the fucking server, I'm gonna stream the video here so you can watch it in real time. Where's it at? There we go. Alright, you got it?
Get the toy. Get your book.
Alright. Well, I am joined with Velasco Forge here from the Perpetual Forge. We're gonna be misogynistic against a female murderer.
Is that possible? Is this a situation where, like, it's not racist if it's against white people? It's not misogynistic if it's against a woman murderer?
I mean, at the end of the day, she's still a woman. So, like, saying things like repeal the 19th because this one woman killed her family, could be seen as a little misogynistic. But, I don't care. Repeal the fucking 19th. Take away women's rights. Chain them all to dishwashers. The more women we chain to dishwashers, the less children get murdered by their own mothers.
It's this situation is absolutely sickening to me. The whole thing. Seeing like copycat crimes pop up now, it needs to be dealt with swiftly.
Yeah, for sure. Like, even people who are like online talking about how they agree with it and they sympathize with it, they really should be like investigated or at least watched, because this shit's like weird. Like, there's like some like weird like mental break going on with like a lot of women who are watching this shit. It's definitely indicative of, like, you know, the mockingbird brainwashing shit that everybody's been subjective to. It's just really showing out here in this particular case.
I keep seeing a story pop up, and I've yet to go and like verify it, but there was a case in like ancient Rome or ancient Greece where this one moment.
Damn, he had to go actually be a parrot, I guess. Yeah, all we need now is an angry duck to complete the trifecta. 2 owls and a duck. That'd be funny. There's another guy that joined our server. His name is Mothman, and he has like this owl cultist persona, but like underneath like the mask, he's this like freaky fucking bug dude. He's kind of cool.
And boys were fighting over a pack of crackers, which we literally have an entire box of. It's like, why? Just grab another package, please.
Oh man, kids are great.
They really are, and it's another reason why this story is so horrific and so sickening. But I was talking about a story from either like ancient Rome or ancient Greece. It was a very high profile, like daughter of a noble who had killed herself. And she got all this attention, and all the other women in the city were like, oh, she's getting all this attention. And there was a slew of suicides afterwards because they all wanted the same attention. And it was becoming a serious problem because they were going to end up with like no women in the city if it continued. And so the leader was like, okay, the next woman who commits suicide is going to be stripped down, hung on a pole, and left to rot there. And he did it. And that was the last suicide. This situation is one of those instances where you have something that is so egregious, so blatantly evil and disgusting, and yet there are women out there who are sympathizing and who are copying what is going on. I've seen at least like 2 or 3 different articles of copycat crimes that are very similar in nature, and it needs to be dealt with before it spreads, because it will. It absolutely will. Social contagion is a real thing.
Well, more or less in between women too, because that's kind of like how women are biologically wired, right? They run off of like herd mentality and like pack acceptance and shit like that. That's why they freak out when like other women don't like them, and then that's why they do shitty things to other women they don't like. They all operate off of that weird like primal pack mentality. So like when women see other women around them doing women shit, they tend to join in on the women shit. It's part of the reason why you can't let your wife hang out with your single friends anymore after you get married, because like they'll let her do single woman shit. They'll convince her to do single woman shit. They'll convince her that she needs to be a single woman again just by like hanging out with them. It's a really serious issue that nobody really fucking addresses.
We've seen a similar situation within our own community of somebody being influenced by even married women. But we're not here to talk about that, so we'll continue with the subject.
I think the term married is subjective.
Yeah, perhaps.
Huge problem with the left is that it definitely feels like there's a lot of like saying that abortion needs to be a human right. That is just like saying it has to be. Like I used to entertain this idea that if abortion would kill the mother, if physically that happened, I feel like this was a good exercise to talk about, people who might not be religious. Like,
if abortion killed both parties, it would just not be a thing.
Would it look like a...
or if it just simply took out the mother, it just wouldn't be a thing.
Oh, no. They are making TikToks holding their kids. No. Oh, no. Yeah, No, if you are holding your kids and you're saying Lindsey Graham is me, you know your kids are not safe with you. Please get them to, like, a family member who is safe, because it is certainly not you, okay? Give me a sec.
Is a woman, according to Dr.
Give me a sec. Man, I'm mad now. Ugh.
Dude, one thing I'll say, like, I hate to be nitpicky, but Emerald Scribe, you gotta do something different with your voice changer, homie. I know you're trying to protect your identity, play a character, but it can't be helium. Like, it can't be helium, brother.
I was just gonna say, I think she tones it down when she's in voice chat with us. It's not quite this pitched.
Yeah.
Bruh. Okay, you know what? Yeah. Okay.
Little do we know she's not using a voice changer. She's just got a bottle of helium next to her.
I think this is a snip from her first stream anyway, when we were all like helping her like tune all this shit anyway. So it might be better next time.
And you're saying Lindsey Graham is me? Yeah. Honestly, I'm tempted to say no, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm just gonna say get them to a different family member. They're not safe with you.
A family dog would be a better caretaker.
I'm sorry, that's just how it is.
Yeah, probably.
Okay? Look, those are your kids. You should love them. Anyway, but back to the... Oh, frick. Yeah, future, absolutely. That's creepy. That part is really creepy. Dude, that's really creepy. I don't like that one bit.
Unrelated, I've been kind of sleeping on this Dubby Jin Woo flavor, brother. Like, it's actually really good.
It's your energy powder stuff.
Yeah. I bought a cup with like a sample pack, and when you get affiliated, you get a code to where you can get like a free 30 serving tub. So I ordered that shit, and
nice.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got the cup. The flavors that I got in the sample pack were really good. It was like blue raspberry and like some lemon flavor. It just tasted like lemonade. And it's not bad energy. It like doesn't give you like the weird like shakes and like heart rate issues like Monster would. And some of the flavors aren't so great. Some of them are good. I didn't really like the first blue raspberry one that I had. But like the addition of the grape on top of the blue raspberry with the Sun Jin Woo flavor is really good. The other one of the sample pack that I have left is what is this? Fucking Tiger's Blood. It's a strawberry, watermelon, and coconut blend. I don't like coconut, so I might hate this flavor, but who knows? I'll try it later. And everything else is
really a shame of a fruit, because it looks like it would be so good and refreshing, and then it just tastes awful, and the texture is awful. It's a real shame.
I hate coconut with a burning passion. Coconut shavings, coconut flakes, coconut water. It's all fucking trash. Like I don't like coconut whatsoever.
Hearing the name Tiger's Blood, do you remember those protein bars? I think they're still around. Tiger's Milk.
No, I don't think I ever seen those.
Maybe it's a West Coast thing. It's a chocolate peanut buttery protein bar. They're good and nostalgic. Anyways,
I'll have the look in the protein bar aisle when I go to the gas station or the grocery store next. See if I can find them.
Okay. Back to what I was saying. Like, what would feminism look like if it was fatal to get an abortion? You know, would we be living in a world where you could, have your kid, would you be able to fight for having more balance, work-life balance, or anything, or things like that? Basically not making it so that in order to succeed in life, you have to basically just be a man, essentially, and not have kids, right? Because, I mean, that's just a reality, is that men, men work longer hours, and this is my own reality, right?
Yeah, that's the only reason there's a wage gap, by the way. Like, the wage gap is, like, an entirely, like, hallucinated thing. It's simply because men take higher paying, more demanding, and more dangerous jobs. So we make more because we work more and do the hard jobs that women don't want to do.
I mean, if we wanted to get rid of the gap, we could always, put affirmative action on things like sewer treatment.
I think an elimination of the gap.
Trash collector.
Yeah, you don't really see a lot of women doing those jobs, man.
No,
you're driving by street construction or linemen doing their job. Like, it's all a bunch of dudes. You never see women out there doing the hard shit.
If they are in road construction, they're spinning a sign around.
Yeah, but then we're putting them in positions of authority, like being cops and shit. Like, really shouldn't be.
That is wild.
Really shouldn't let them be cops.
They should not be in law enforcement or firefighting or soldiers. Those are 3 positions that is absolutely no.
Anything with like responsibility or authority or power over life and death, women just shouldn't be involved in. I mean, like, closest thing is like they should be
like
doctors.
EMTs and stuff
Yeah,
like
they
that.
should be
That's
doctors and medics. Because, like, you need the nurturing, delicate, caring nature of a woman for that type of shit.
That's why the vast majority are nurses are women as opposed to men, because they actually have. That is one area where women do excel over men, is that nurturing instinct, that taking care of those in need and those who are hurt.
It's what we call natural law. The fuck you mean Velasco's carrying the stream? It's all about fucking Emerald Scribe, bro. Like, Emerald Scribe is not even here, and she's carrying the stream. Like, listen to this. This is peak.
Women are more likely to take time off for their kids, and I'm sorry, but as much, like, we have tried to fix this, like, quote, fix this, in big quotes, and, I really, at this point, feel like it's a nature versus nurture. Like, they actually have done studies on this, where if you take the motherhood aspect out of the wage gap doesn't exist. So
that's literally what I was just saying, bro. Like, take women out of the workforce and the wage gap doesn't exist. Chain up all the dishwashers.
It's mothers versus everyone else. Okay? This is another reason why I wanted to make this channel, was because I want to be a voice out there saying, like, no, motherhood is actually awesome, but at the same time not put my kids out there and put them in danger, basically. So, yeah. Anyway, yikes. Okay, what else? But I think that if abortion was failed, I'm convinced they would just wait until, and I feel bad saying this, but I feel like they would just wait until I don't want to continue this thought, man.
Was experiencing some form of postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. She was prescribed a bunch of different medications for that, in fact an insane amount of medications for that, and there were warning signs prior to her committing the murders that she was going through some kind of mental issue. Now, whether you put any stock in that is irrelevant at this moment in time, but what you need to know is that her defense attorneys right now are not arguing for a not guilty by reason of insanity. They're actually arguing for—
Wait, they're not? They're not arguing for that? That kind of feels like that would be a open and shut. What's going on?
They're like arguing the validity of like the actual murder claims, or trying to prove that she's innocent. Like she should be excused.
Didn't she already like admit?
Yeah, she already admitted that she killed them. She's like claimed to have heard voices. Like they're trying to prove that like her mental state like excuses her from the crimes.
That's wild. Here's the thing. Like, I'm usually against death penalty, but if you are a threat to society as a whole, it needs to be used 100%.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is this was an entirely like premeditated event. Like,
well, she sent her husband out for whatever it was, food or medicine or whatever, and then systematically strangled our 3 children. She could have stopped at any point, right? If you had strangled the first one and she had felt remorse, she would have stopped and not strangled the other ones, but she didn't. She did it to every single one of them.
Yeah, the details, like if you actually read like the details of like the crime scene, the kids ran and hid. They didn't just stand there and watch. Yeah. They ran and hid, and she went and found them and killed them where she found them. Like I think the son ran into the dad's office and like hid under his desk, and she went and pulled him out and strangled him in like the middle of like his office room. And the daughter, the oldest daughter, went and like hid in the closet, like the parents' room or some shit like that. And like essentially, she found her and fucking did her there. Like she literally hunted these kids down and brutally fucking murdered them. She looked them in the eye. Strangulation isn't a easy fucking mode of executing somebody, dude. You have
it's incredibly intimate and it takes a lot of effort to happen, and it doesn't happen right away. It's not in the movies where, you know, big buff guy grabs a guy around the neck and he passes out in like 4 seconds. No, it is like a 3 to 5 minute minimum, and it's
yeah. Well,
the more I hear about this case, the more sick it makes me to my stomach, and it makes me think that maybe we need to bring back cruel and unusual punishments.
No, like this person needs to be boiled alive. they need to be literally stoned to death by the community. They need to be buried up to the neck, and everybody just needs to take turns chucking bricks at their fucking forehead until they stop moving.
I don't know, that might even be too sane, too merciful.
Everybody gets a stick and takes turns beating her like a fucking piñata as she's hanging from a tree by the neck. This is one of those cases where the execution should indeed be public, and they should be strung up in a public square, like a public hanging, and then leave them hanging there for a long time.
Let the crows get to them first before taking them down.
With the promise that the next person who does this gets the same exact fucking treatment.
Yes.
Mitigating factors based on the history that this woman had with mental issues after giving birth to her 3rd child. And by the way, if you guys are unfamiliar, Lindsay Clancy murdered all 3 of her children. And even though she was supposedly mentally ill, not of sound mind of judgment, she managed to get her husband out of the house by, I believe, making an order for food or something of the sort where he had to leave to go pick it up. And then she brought her 3...
I had to mute myself for a second, but my son literally just asked if I could come out and play with them.
Children down to the basement and strangled them one by one in brutal fashion, while the other ones
watched their siblings die. Then Lindsay Clancy
decided that she wanted to end her own life in a murder-suicide, triple murder-suicide plot, so she jumped out of a 2nd-story window and she was paralyzed, and from that moment in time, the true crime moms decided that she was a sympathetic figure and it could not possibly be her fault, because how could we assign any responsibility for a horrific murder like this to the person who admittedly committed said murder? Now look, I could explain this in a much longer format. I could go over the finer details of the case. I could talk about what was used in the strangulation and all sorts of other things. I could talk about how much she is paralyzed.
You strangled them? What?
And all those additional details, but the fact is, the people who are crafting the narrative that it was the husband and not Lindsay Clancy do not care about any of that information.
They don't care about like truth or any aspect of that or justice for the kids. They're just making shit up that makes them feel good. It's like just weird female
all of them
shit.
Talking about how like, oh, he was a Gemini, he definitely did it. Virgos don't murder their children. It's absolutely
it's retarded
wild.
woman logic. And they're like, oh, he just gives me bad vibes. Like he looks mean. Like what the fuck does that even mean, dude? Like. I look mean.
We were talking earlier about women who shouldn't be in certain positions. Not only like law enforcement cops is that not a position, but like judges. That shouldn't be a thing either.
For sure, especially like when it comes to like a man versus a woman in like say a divorce court or something like that. If you have a female judge, you're fucked. Like, because they're all biased. Every single one of them is biased, and they will always rule in favor of a woman. Not only is it because of the court system, but it's because of the judges that uphold the court system.
Well, they also have this like suicidal empathy tick where like